Hello YouTube, my name is Noah Suleiman. You don't have to fucking know who I am, it doesn't fucking matter. I'm sitting at a creek bed, you know, whatever. It's pretty nice, you know. So I got my laptop here, and I'm about to read off my script, okay? And the topic of this video is me talking to XXXTENTACION, Jahseh Onfroy post-mortem, okay? So if you're too close-minded, if you literally just like don't even want to like consider this for even half a second, like don't waste the like hour long, I'm sure this video is going to end up being like, but if even like a shred of you wants to like entertain it, just stick around. You know, this is all scripted, bear with me. Well, it's going to be scripted starting right now. Okay. I think I want to talk about talking to XXXTENTACION. Jahseh. Jahseh was the friend that I'll never have. I looked forward to him being a mutually rewarding ally or a worthy nemesis. Despite some seemingly obvious lifestyle differences, I related to him, perhaps more than I relate to any other human being, living or dead. I looked up to him, but would always have to set the bar higher for himself. Do better, Jahseh, I would think when he did or said something that I myself thought I wouldn't, disregarding his humanity and my own. He motivated me because I was not alone, and the world had seemingly accepted somebody so seemingly similar to me. But it also demotivated me because, despite him being a year younger than me, he already seemed to have accomplished more than my fluctuating self-esteem would allow me to imagine myself doing in a lifetime. He had filled a role, and it felt like the world didn't need another occupant. I'm not going to go into full detail explaining why or how I felt so strongly about X. I could do a whole 2-hour video on it. I tried to write a post about it on Tumblr. It was fat and bloated and rambling and did the understanding stuck in my head little to no justice. It's an incredibly upsetting topic for me to try and relay, and it'll remain in the suppressed section of my mind until I grow a pair and tackle it. Just fucking believe me for the moment when I say that Jahseh was important to me and it went a little deeper than a normal stan relationship. No, for today I'm just going to talk about me talking to Jahseh and some events leading up to it. Okay, as you all know, Jahseh Dwayne Ricardo Onfroy, for those who don't already know, was shot multiple times in the neck on June 18th, 2018, being pronounced dead that evening at 5:30 p.m. At that exact time, I was tripping shrooms in Indiana, visiting my best friend and his girlfriend Gabby. Now, I'm not exactly a stranger to psychedelics, but it had been a long time since I'd used them, and an even longer time since I've had a good experience on them. And the first and only time I've ever tried shrooms. So, I was already having a bad time prior to all this. My body anxiety was off the charts, my girlfriend and I were getting into a fight, my existential dread was enforcing a no-fun zone, and me, David, and Gabby were all confined to their then apartment, which was small and stifling, or to their car, driving around in the endless schizophrenic outdoor mall of America. I was rambling about how the incredibly written character of Kanye West was all the more fascinating, fuck off, due to his frontal lobe brain damage. How YouTuber Peter Draws was taunting me psionically beyond space or time through psychedelic link in his videos, and how I had made contact with an extraterrestrial in the darkness of David's bathroom, only for it to assault my mind with vibratory hell waves. Side note, if you have to develop tinnitus, don't start while you're tripping and trying to achieve contact of the fifth kind. Okay, just a little fun. Okay. Sarah, sometime before or after during our argument, I don't know, told me that X was dead. I wasn't tripping that hard. I had only, you know, taken the base amount to fucking fuck off to trip. But without having the vocabulary to do it justice, let's just say it fucked me up. Processing this information simultaneously took an instant and never occurred. There came a point well into the AM where I was sobbing uncontrollably on the phone. talking about how the Nintendo, Kardashian, Walmart, W. Bush singular hive mind had set the cogs in motion. The devil himself. The devil had killed X, as X had strayed too far, and had proven that he was unlikely to bend the knee again. A vassal that powerful could not be allowed to join the other side. The killer had almost not pulled the trigger, but right when he hesitated, before the event horizon had passed, the internet surged through his veins and provided the indiscernible hair's worth of energy required to finish the movement. I still stand by all of this, and I don't think it needs further explanation. Just use a little metaphorical thinking, big picture shit. It's not that hard. Okay. Side note, spirituality is climate change. No further explanation on my part. I'm not going to baby step y'all through everything. Other side note, trips in my experience have an overarching superego theme, and mine this time had been consumption, in a very horrible, evil, and abstract galactic version of the Flash game Fishy. In Fishy, the goal is simple. You're a small fish. You eat smaller fish, and slightly grow in size. Bigger fish threaten to eat you in turn, until you grow bigger and bigger, eating the medium fish and then the large fish, and eventually the whole sea is yours to consume in a vain attempt to placate your insatiable hunger. No, I wasn't hallucinating pixeled fish or seaweed. Rather, these abstract masses to represent abstract entities in various sizes, like McDonald's, America, Walmart, George W. Bush, Kim Kardashian, Nintendo, Disney, Christianity, what have you. All these abstract entities were these formless bubbles of evil and hunger, floating through the void, consuming all that they could. Why? Because deep, deep, deep down, they're scared. They don't want to be eaten. They consume, so they are not consumed. Entities are created by thought and feeling. The gods of old exist because we willed them to exist. The incredibly deep-rooted insecurity that lies in the unacknowledged bedrock of these metaphysical, but very real entities ensures that... ensures that their morally bankrupt conquistador-like behavior will continue until their corrupt seeds are surgically removed. It is not unique to McDonald's or George W. Bush or even human beings, but an affliction of all unenlightened life. It is the fear of death. It is the fear of eroding into nothingness. Absorption of the ego into the collective conscious. God/the omniverse eating you up, first your physical vessel and then your very soul. Surrender, death, dissolution, oblivion, like you never existed, a blip. Okay, let's take a step back real quick. What the fuck was I saying? Oh yeah, okay. The devil killed X, or, well, we killed X. The devil is within us, the rebellious other side of the coin, the opposite side being God, likely the entire coin being true God. We have fear. Fear destroys. Fear runs away from God, from love, from the unknown but not unknowable, as fast as and as irreversibly as it can. And there is an infinity to run. There is no maximum distance. Everything just goes on and on and on and on. And no, we're not doing that right now. Or should I? Am I doing my dreams and my potential impact a disservice by not allowing a stream of consciousness? For maximum impact, you gotta play the long game. The long game isn't just tightening your Velcro Sperry's and putting in the work for a decade or 3. That's the medium game. The long game involves a lot of faith in the butterfly effect, a lot of seemingly fruitless endeavors. I think I need to accept that I may never find fame and acclaim, not in my lifetime at least, perhaps not ever. Perhaps my teachings will only serve a slim minority, but this tiny group of people may do more good in this world than if I had entertained the attentions of 1,000,000 sheep. Fuck, see, this is all exactly what happened when I tried to write about X last time. It got too broad, too quick. I might as well scrap this and go ahead and write my The Truth About Everything faux Pax premiere movie script. Okay, seriously, I need to learn to specialize. We're not here to talk about X in general, or his music, or his tumultuous relationships, or his mental health, or my feelings about him, or my comparison of him and I, or my feelings about God, or the devil, or truth, or reality, or my existence, or any of this shit. We're literally here to talk about November 10th, 2018, when I went to Wilmington's own Holistic and Psychic Expo. Fuck off. I walked in the doors, I looked around for like 5 seconds, and directly to the left of the opening doors, Anaswara Erica was sitting, waiting for her first customer. Anaswara Erica, a psychic medium, was waiting for her first customer. I swallowed. I felt stupid. I tried to wear something me, but also something quiet. I just felt like a fat, lanky, dirty, sniveling, fucking bug-eyed cretin. We didn't directly make eye contact, but I had felt her eyes, and I knew she had felt my several glances. Sarah's spirit mom, Wendy, had told Sarah to tell me that it's important to follow your gut in these sort of situations. It was weird because even before going to the event, I knew that if I took Wendy's advice, I would just end up walking up to literally the first medium I saw. Call it premonition or intuition, or be a superbly intellectual god of cold, hard, indissolvable facts and logic and reason, and call it coincidence, but walk up I did. I could tell, she could tell I was a little nervous, but she had warm eyes and seemed a little nervous herself. Maybe that's just me projecting. Maybe it was because I was her first customer. I literally have no idea. She didn't come off as part of the Salt Life pop spiritualistic crowd. She seemed genuine. She was about my mom's age. She had some people helping tend to her stand, where she also sold incenses and other things in addition to the psychic and medium services, but they kind of minded their own business. They seemed like a diverse group of individuals, not watered-down lackeys of a systemic archetype. I don't know. I'm biased at this point. Anyways, there was a little introduction. I don't even remember the first words, to be honest. We greeted. I asked if she could connect me to someone dead. She confirmed she could provide the service, something of that sort. I gave her my name, Noah Suleiman, and I gave his, Jahseh Onfroy. That was it. That was literally all the information I told her. That is it. Okay? She closed her eyes. She appeared trying to concentrate, sort of how like one tries to concentrate while meditating, just trying to not be distracted, you know, letting the voices in, I suppose. I suppose I should also mention real quick that I had done some research prior to coming, namely on how to spot a fraudulent psychic or a fraudulent medium. More on that later, but just so you know that I was enforcing a bit of analytical observation, skepticism, and hesitation on myself from the beginning. Though to say I wasn't also desperate, excited, and terrified would be a lie. I love getting eat up by bugs. Oh, fuck, shit. Also, real quick, I don't have a lot of experience with this. Most of my spiritual experiences have been by myself, save for my friend Gibson doing some really awesome tarot readings a handful of times. Stories for another time. I was in virgin territory, as uncomfortable as an idiom as that is. So, Anaswara Erica had closed her eyes for a bit, maybe a minute, and then I guess contact was established. I'd love to interview her specifically on the whole process. I don't know. Anyways, she started off saying a lot. Like a leak in a dam, it was a spurt here or there at first, but a torrential flood exploded forth, to the point where I can barely remember what was said before or after what, especially in the first half of the conversation. So, without super accurate historical chronologicalness, here are some things that she said. Alright, I'm gonna stop the video right here just in case. She remarked very quickly that he was big. She really stressed that. Confused, I so replied, yeah, I mean, he was, like, physically fit or whatever, and she corrected me, like, no, his spirit is big. Think of spirits like blobs, okay? Well, he's a really, really big blob, is what she said. If anything, it was even more assuring. I can intuitively tell you that X was a very developed person spiritually. He was a big person, an individual like no other. He filled up a room. Like, if you're a big fan and have dug into his music and interviews and rants and shit, I'm sure I don't have to tell you this, that the man had power beyond simply stringing words together and having a cool style. Like, anyways, she intermittently would say he wondered if I had anything to ask, or if I just wanted to let him talk. And then she would interrupt herself with a new revelation. One thing that came up really quick was pop, pop, pop. First, she asked if he had been a soldier. I couldn't really respond in the affirmative or negative. I think I said something to the effect of sort of or not really. But she remarked how she kept hearing pop, pop, pop. And to clarify, she gestured to the side of her head, which to me was an allusion to the gunshots in his neck. Pop, pop, pop. And by Jesus, I was already sold at this point. She asked if he had been walking while he died. I said no, he'd been in a car. She said that he said that upon dying, it was just a sensation of continuing to walk. Essentially, no interruption of what is natural. He just continued walking. Now, in the months leading up, I had filled my head with all sorts of horrors. After telling Anaswara this, she suggested they were just likely my own projections. When X died, I imagined him in a sort of purgatory. Confused, insane, hateful, in mental and emotional agony. Videos on YouTube of people communicating with him through a spirit box and other methods seem to confirm this. With this medium experience under my belt, I don't know what to make of these spirit box sessions and other YouTuber experiences with him post-mortem. They all have, to varying degrees, a sense of believability. One YouTuber, I think it was a black girl who did tarot, did a session talking to X that seemed really, really legit. Another guy plugged in a bunch of stuff related to X and to gematria, also seemed crazy legit. I don't know, it's also confusing. So much seems believable, yet at times contradictory. Stuff like spirit and the afterlife, however, I know to be much more complicated and yet simple than we can possibly imagine here in the physical plane. And while I'm tempted to fall down the path of common and easy skepticism and write it all off as bogus garbage, I know better. I've seen shit. I've felt it. Big picture, bro. Anyways, now, I'm not an idiot. If that had been my entire session, not an idiot. If that had been my entire session with Anaswara, she'd charge me $100 and let me scoot along with vague references that anyone who kept up with rudimentary pop culture news would know. I wouldn't be so adamant about my experience. There's a couple details that sealed the deal for the authenticity of my experience for me. Patience, okay? It was weird. I could tell she could read my face. I probably looked distraught, relieved, and a mixture of like 50 other emotions at this point. It's probably the most complicated topic I have as far as feelings go, or at least in the top 5. She looked at me with only kindness and empathy. Along the way, she said, or rather, he said, that he was in a place where there was no anger, no pain, no hate. Okay, and this is, I'm just reading off the script. Okay, let's bust out my phone notes for the rest of the script. After the whole experience, I walked around absent-mindedly around the convention, shell-shocked after the events. After about 30 minutes, I sat on a bench and I wrote down everything that Jahseh had telephoned to me on my phone memos. First, she asked if I had any questions. I was obviously tongue-tied, so she asked if I just wanted to listen to what he had to say. I agreed. It took a moment to sink in, but it blew my mind, this next part. He started giving me music advice. Keep in mind, I gave absolutely no personal details about myself, who I am, what I do, whatever. Just my name and my present appearance. And I wasn't wearing a shirt saying I'm a fucking musician. I was wearing just a regular shirt and basketball shorts and shoes. There was no possible fucking way that Anaswara knew I was a rapper and a producer, or unlikely that she even knew who X was. But it started off as, feel the music. You need to feel the bass. Feel. Don't just listen. This might sound very normal, almost cliche advice to give to an intermediate musician, or even just advice to give to any random person who enjoys listening to music, but I can assure you this was X speaking to me, knowingly. I've had a long-standing struggle to get in touch with my feelings, to be able to feel, not relying just on raw and quantifiable data delivered to me by my senses. Feel. Feel something that's beyond the verifiable numbers and letters. Just feel. I taught myself how to make music. I taught myself how to use the DAW Fruity Loops with a random hefty assortment of YouTube videos, and I took Music Theory in a Day course provided by Busy Works Beats. Anybody can teach themselves to produce, for free, with YouTube. You can teach scales, chords, BPM, plugins, effects, waveformats, all the little knobs and sliders and shit, but that doesn't make you an artist. A programmed robot could draw a landscape, but does that make it art with feeling? Just because I know what a C major scale looks like and what the most used chord progressions are stemming from it, that doesn't mean that I feel music. And I know what feels right. Art is so much more than a checklist of verifiable principles, despite what some industry heads would have you believe. Art without feeling produces something hollow. Every music genre has its hit songs that maybe got the creators a lot of plays and even a lot of money, but in the process made their soul and heart hollow and damaged the culture and the minds and spirits of the masses, all while creating something with a relative shelf life of 5 fucking minutes. You can't learn how to feel from a Fruity Loops tutorial. You have to learn it and live it in every aspect of your life. At least that's how I see it. I haven't always seen it like that. I've had a long struggle with feeling my feelings. I used to always be an emotional kid, and after a few heartbreaks and a lot of anger boiling from repeated failure to be successful socially, I took the system's narrative on male emotions to heart, and I withdrew from them. I withdrew from my emotions, almost completely. During a period in late high school, I went from crying once a week or once a day to not crying whatsoever. And besides a couple boilovers where I had a freak out of amazing, unprecedented proportions, I kept it robot for several years until I met Sarah and our relationship demanded my emotional presence. See, at least for me, I can't just shut off the crying. You can't just shut off sadness or depression or anger or rage. You shut down the whole emotional system. The whole ability to feel all at once. And not being able to feel blinds you to a whole lot more than just your emotions. It severs your ties with your very self, your loved ones, your era, your planet, the very universe itself, the energies surrounding us. Too many people sever and stunt their feelings and become the programmed robots that you see following the motions in day-to-day life, living a completely preset existence. Anyways, suffice to say, the advice was important, but despite it seeming one-size-fits-all, it was also very important for me and my personal struggle specifically. X reminded me that if I really wanted to accomplish everything I wanted to accomplish, it cannot be done without true feeling. A quick follow-up he gave me. Don't just write music to write music. Feel what you're saying. Stemming off of the prior, this one also hits home. Not often, but I had sometimes found myself saying, I need to write a rap, and forcing myself to do so instead of following my artistic instinct and writing a rap when a rap needed to be written. I mean, hell, even seemingly meaningless bangers have a very specific place that they come from, and as nihilistic and braggadocious and diet hateful as it seems, it still comes from a place of feeling. Or it should. I can't tell myself, okay, time to write a sad song because, I have 6 distorted bangers and 6 topical rapidy raps, but only 5 sad songs, so, gotta fill the quota. No! And another thing, something I myself have been trying to discipline myself to do was to take advantage of epiphanies, of in-the-moment revelations. Too many wonderful ideas I've had have been lost to the bowels of the universe, either in totality or in part, because I didn't take the time to jot them down in the moment. This was a lesson for me to learn, that next time I felt the insatiable urge to write about, anything, that if I got a demanding urge to write about my Walmart shopping experience or my drive to work or the feeling of failing on social media or anything, that I need to write it then. Not say, oh, but I'm busy, or, oh, I just don't feel like it. Being an artist is all about exploiting yourself, your innermost moments that others hold sacred and private, so that the world may share in your feelings, in your perspective, and learn and grow from it. It's all part of the job, and the job never ends. Also, the inverse of feel what you're saying, being say what you're feeling, has been really important for me in my maturation in these, Jesus Christ, it's been 6 months. I've desperately needed to learn how to say what needs to be said, not biting my tongue because it's uncomfortable or because I might be wrong or whatever reason. When the truth is ready, it'll try and spill from your lips, and every time you force it back down, it's a fucking tragedy. Moving onwards. Be true to your core. Don't try and be me or anyone else, or you're fake. You're plastic. I don't mean offense in what I say. You can't be me. Only I can be me. Only you can be you. This whole statement, along with the previous, fuck my ass. Not literally. Like, fuck, comma, my ass hurts. Okay. I don't give a shit. Fuck my ass. Where was I? This whole statement, along with the previous, really hits home for me. But something that really stood out was his use of the word plastic. Plastic is a word that is very much my own, to myself. It means so much to me. It's one of my ultimate insults, and I've frequently used it to deride society and its loyal inhabitants. Being fake is one of my biggest critiques of the system loyalist archetype, the common sheep, and yet I myself have, once again, had a long-standing struggle with it. Becoming one with the plastic, capital P, is possibly the worst outcome I can see for myself in this life. I'm weird. Like, not forcibly weird or worryingly weird or creepily weird. Like, I just have a personality that is all my own, and I don't naturally want to sand it down the edge. Okay, wait. I put the wrong tone on that. And I don't naturally want to sand down the edges to try and have society accept me. However, there's been many times in my life, and while they've deterred in frequency, they still happen to this day, where I have chosen to blend in and have a moment's comfort over fighting the good fight and saying or doing what needs to be said or done in this infinite war of influence. Jahseh reminded me to not do it with the very same words and phrasing that I myself would use. I think I personally have something valuable that is needed in this war, something unique that only I can offer, something that only I excel at, and the only thing that I excel at. Finally, besides general fakery, I think there was a pull Jahseh had that made me want to be more like him than myself. Besides subconsciously critiquing my music for not sounding like his, I was critiquing my very personality and behavior. My misplaced envy tried to convince me that I should be more violent and aggressive, more braggadocious, confident, more uncaring, more enviable, more apathetic, more temperamental, more spiteful, caring less about kindness and safety and wholesomeness. These are traits that I was manifesting for my perception of old X, the very same entity that the more evolved, reborn X beat the shit out of in his sad music video. He had worked tirelessly to separate himself from his worst state of being, and come to think of it, it's somewhat insulting to his spirit and his evolved form and his legacy that I, even unconsciously, would want to aspire to be like someone who he so despised and tried so desperately to escape from. I can only be Noah. I can't be Jahseh or anybody else, and only they can be them. Point blank fucking period. I think at this point I was tearing up a little. Really bad, actually. Everything that took me like half a fucking hour to explain was happening in seconds, and so much more. He continued. All those people who don't like you, they don't like you because they don't need you right now. Those who love you need you. For those who aren't aware, I have a chipper 20 on my shoulder. I'm not exactly popular for both innate reasons and for my own manufactured and purposeful doing, a topic I will explore later. I'm a people pleaser at heart, at least one half of me is. I also have this deep desire to do good on a massive scale. A lot of this desire is soulful and sincere, but a lot of it is megalomania, itching for its chance to shine. The former is love, the latter is not. It is ego. I don't know. I'm not exactly directly addressing what he said, but I don't know. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Hopefully. Moving on. Once you love and accept yourself, only then can everyone or anyone else love and accept you. Again, this is something that I feel like most people could and should heed, but it's very specific to my own personal journey and struggles too. I hated myself the majority of my adolescence. I've had moments since then of accepting myself and maybe a sort of tolerant, lukewarm love, but truly and healthily loving myself, I'm not sure I do. And no, I'm not saying the most toxic ass, fake positivity, love yourself, narcissistic movement. Oh fuck, I dropped my mouse. Oh, don't fall in the water, no. Okay. I'm not talking about the toxic ass, fake positivity, love yourself, narcissistic movement that's going on right now. I'm talking about something harder to achieve. The thing that inspired this movement, that was co-opted by this movement, that was defanged by this movement. I'm going off script for that second, but now I'm back on. Okay. The majority of that movement consists of saying, fuck the world and everyone else in it, cater to me, 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 me. And love, to me, is a lot like how I described feeling. You can't just shut off depression or rage, you shut the whole system down, right? Likewise, you can't just stop loving others or just stop loving yourself or life or the planet or whatever. If you don't love your human beings, even in a very basic way, and you can still dislike people, but if you don't love people in a very basic way, you can't ever truly love yourself. You can't truly love a partner or anything, or at the very least, I think it would make it very hard to. It creates a sort of cognitive dissonance, a doublethink that requires crime stop constantly, an internal paradox that will correct itself one way or another, no matter how hard you try and put it off. A lesson I have learned in this life is this: the harder you try and chase the mob's love, the approval of the masses, the praise and the likes and the shares and the social inclusion, the further away from your true self you will stray, and the less happy and fulfilled and human you will become. In our conversation, X gave me a lot of advice that I already knew. We'll get to that more later. But I think that maybe having a celebrity that I had an intense parasocial relationship with to remind me of these wisdoms and accentuate their importance has definitely been a positive. I know that loving and accepting myself, blah, 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 is paramount importance, but maybe I'm not actively adhering to those values in day-to-day life as much as I should be. Maybe I'm not disciplining myself to try consistently, you know what I mean? He continued by giving more music advice. Don't be afraid to reach out to people with your music. Don't be afraid to stand on the corner. Again, this is something that I specifically, desperately needed to hear. I don't even tell people I'm a rapper anymore, because the first thing people ask is, let's hear something, bro. Waiting for me to freestyle some garbage or spit my hardest bars or what have you, which I hate. I've always hated public speaking. I've hated being myself, exposing my most intimate works of expression to the public eye, who is doomed to misunderstood, misrepresent, misinterpret, dismiss, and discard. I've been working on it, but I've only been working on tackling these issues lately as hard as I have because of this conversation with X. My music isn't going to go anywhere if I, the creator, won't even champion it. I can't just upload shit to YouTube, spam links on a couple videos, and wait for the magic of the internet to do the rest of the work for me. I need to be prepared to shove my shit in people's fucking faces. I need to be prepared to perform songs for actual live human beings. Something I dread, but will absolutely be required to do so. I need to demand my spot, fight for it uncompromisingly, and, yes, have the courage to stand on the corner. At this point in the conversation, out of the blue, it finally dawned on me what exactly it meant that I was getting music advice from him. I was 50 shades of fucking flabbergasted. I was stunned. I sputtered. You're giving me all this music advice. How do you even know I'm a musician? Kind, recognize kind. Style, recognize style. Talent, recognize talent. Method and skill, recognize method and skill. Let me just go ahead and say that having XXXTENTACION, living or not, say that shit to me, wow. The only person who I've felt like has really appreciated my music, besides the occasional nice words on YouTube or SoundCloud, is my girlfriend Sarah. She's a big fan of my music, and I feel like she really gets it to the core, you know? That being said, it's fuck off. That being said, it's easy to write off her heartfelt and powerful praise as just my girlfriend being a supportive girlfriend. You know, it's like kind of how your mom might call you cute, but would probably call me cute if a chimp on bath salts ate my face, you know? X owes me nothing. He could have just said, I just know, bro. I'm dead. I see things. I see people take shits and pick their noses, and I've seen you rap in the closet. But no, he chose to say those things. Wow, I literally can't describe what it was like for me to hear that. I'll just leave it be and say that I was grateful and humbled and flattered at essentially unprecedented levels. And he's not just a professional, highly successful musician. He's literally one of my favorite musicians ever. One of my favorite celebrities ever. One of my favorite people ever. Jesus. Like, the next thing also included something I already knew. As previously mentioned, as... Oh my god, that was a big ant. Holy fuck. Okay. Let's... Give me a second. Sorry, a fucking, like, ant the size of a baby's fist. Okay, no, it was, like, the size of a, like, paperclip, but a really fucking big ant, crawled on my leg, and I, you know, leapt up in surprise, and then there was some lady that was revealed to have been listening to my shit. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna go over there. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna talk since I started recording. The next thing also includes something I already knew, as previously mentioned, as well as something that I hadn't considered. Remember that money is meaningless paper. None of those things I had mattered. I knew in my soul I was going to die, and that's why I was starting to give away my possessions. They're just things. Nothing that happens on earth matters, only feelings. I disdain capital much like I disdain the capital P plastic, intertwined as they are, but of course, when it comes to the nitty-gritty of day-to-day, maybe I worry too much about material success. Of course, I frame it in a sense of, oh, well, I just want freedom to all my worldly time, freedom to utilize a wide range of resources. It's not like I want yachts or sports cars or a big house or jewelry or whatever. I was miffed a bit that he would even, like, tell that to me. The perfectly wokest of woke. Let me reread that. I was miffed a bit that I, the perfectly wokest of the woke, was getting told by somebody that money is meaningless paper, like an obvious. But I think it needed to be reiterated to me, to be honest. I needed to be reminded that my financial status is no indicator of my success as a person, my happiness as a person, and is no indicator whether my music is good or not. Okay, real quick, I've neglected to mention that I had typed up, printed, and brought 4 fucking pages of questions to ask X. I quickly discarded them as we started, and maybe referenced back to them once or twice. Anaswara would often ask, did you have anything else you wanted to ask him? And here are a few things that I did end up asking. First, I asked in general if he was okay, which I already covered the response. A closer, direct quote is, there was no suffering after my death. In the afterlife, there is no anger, no pain, no hate. Now, later, where we currently are at, I asked him if I could act in his stead, perhaps in the form of action or reaching out to someone. There was much conspiracy and rumor, much of it believable, surrounding his death. That tarot reading girl I mentioned had some really compelling moments that seemed to confirm my suspicions that he had been set up by someone in his entourage. I was enraged at his death, and I wanted revenge, or at the very least, justice. I'm also a little bit kooky, and my long-term track record has proven to myself that nothing is ever 100% off the table, if you see what I'm dog whistling here. Additionally, I wanted to be bestowed some sort of honor of contacting his loved ones for him, perhaps his siblings, or ski mask, or his girlfriend, or even his ex, or his enemies. Now, if you've been rolling your eyes at me squirming around in a sea of praise, don't worry, I kind of got shut down at this moment. He said, "No, what's your business?" Oofda! Yeah, to be straightforward, I was again a little miffed, but again, as I mulled it over later, I find this to be in no way offensive. I don't think being real with someone is offensive. I think it's the greatest gift we can give one another. Besides a mild feeling of being snubbed, I was pissed for other reasons too. I retorted quickly, "What about those people responsible? What about the people responsible? What about all those exploiting your death right now?" On the exploitation, I was speaking of the massive celebrities and even common people who hopped on the fiery story of his death to give their cliche, impersonal rest in peace to cash in on some clout. There was plenty who mourned his death legitimately. Plenty. But inauthentic mourning pissed me off even more than the floods of narrow-minded dorks who've done nothing but condemn him uncompromisingly for beating his girlfriend or attacking a gay dude in jail and have been celebrating his death and wishing it was more grotesque. I hated the fake mourners even more. The fucking... You know what I mean. If you're even 1/3 woke and you've borne witness to the aftermath of someone you sincerely cared about's death, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. People who made their life on Earth as miserable as fucking possible, shedding some alligator tears and acting like they were always best friends with the deceased, making sure to do so when the cameras are rolling and the sympathetic audience is dabbing their cheeks. Can I get a no, bitch? Anyways, so I had just said, "What about those exploiting your death?" He shrugged. "It's the name of the game." Like Anaswara relaying it to him, she just like shook her head sadly and smiled at me, and she was just like, "It's the name of the game." X had already been a bit disenchanted with the alternative hip-hop scene before his death, but damn, that's some shit right there. He continued, "There is no favor you can do for me but hear and feel my music and my words. Every time you think of me, every time you speak of me, but especially every time you feel me, my music, my words, I'm there." I think this would be an appropriate time to get a little meta with this video. See, I've sat on these phone notes since November, so it's been a good 5 months. Side note, as I'm recording this, it's been 7 months. Part of me, mostly subconscious but a little bit conscious, wanted to exploit his death too. I'm just being straight up. Even in November, 5 months after his death, the topic of XXXTENTACION was still a relatively juicy topic, a redeemable asset in our attention economy. I have very clear end goals of what I want to do with my life, and I'd like to think they're noble. The whole point of my existence, my life's goal, is to help as many people as possible, in the most lasting way as possible. Of course, I want my fame and glory and recognition and respect too, but I have big plans, and the step I'm currently stuck on is gathering a fan base. Making myself a known person, shining through the infinite sea of plastic garbage. Any quick look on my subscribers, views, likes, fucking engagement, whatever, even on my main page, even on my other numerous medias, even if you added them all fucking together, will tell you that by all accounts of what mainstream society holds valuable, Noah Suleiman as a brand is completely fucking worthless. I have plans to chip away at this into something of my liking, but any boost would help. Of course X is a juicy topic. I'm not going to name this video my experience at Wilmington's own holistic and psychic expo. You know damn well I'm going to put XXXTENTACION spirit and talking and shit like within the first 3 fucking words. I've enjoyed the challenge so far of only using the 3 random thumbnails YouTube gives me when I upload a video, but you know damn well I'm gonna be putting something with this dead and missed bastard's face on the fucking front of it. Like, fuck, I'm just as bad as these fuckers. I might as well be fucking academics or some shit. Fuck, like, I really sat on this a while. I wanted to keep it to myself. I told myself that it was selfish, that his words might positively impact someone else out there, someone who also desperately needed it, but which is really selfish? Sharing it and benefiting, or not sharing, getting no personal gain, but not potentially giving someone out there an epiphany either. Fuck it, I don't fucking know. Either way, just understand the decision wasn't a cakewalk for me to make. It's especially hard because I do believe he's right here, over my fucking shoulder. Watching me type this, watching me do this fucking video. I definitely felt him when I talked about him at work, trying to tell people of these experiences. I don't know what he thinks. You know, those message chimes you heard earlier in this video, that was my girlfriend texting me something about X. I didn't even check it. I'm gonna check it after this video. I'm sure it'll be interesting. I also low-key shouldn't care. He isn't God. He's just a big-ass blob. Whatever. I've read and reread this. I've realized I got some shit out of chronological order. I just don't feel like writing it again. I just don't. I don't feel like finding good segues for the other things I said, so let's just get this over with and be blunt about it. Towards the tail end, I asked one more question that I was gnawing to know. I had watched an interview with him very early into my discovery of him, where he briefly mentioned that he astral projected in jail. You could tell the experience meant a lot to him, but to be fair, I assume anybody who's had their soul snap out of their body probably leaves the experience a little shook. The topic wasn't explored. I'm sure his interviewers didn't even know what he was saying. I fucking did. So I asked him something that had been bugging me ever since my own OBE. Is death like astral projection? To which he replied, death is clearer. I see things like you're seeing them now. I buy it, sure. I don't know when this came up, but I know I already touched on this. But he also said, I knew in my soul I was going to die. Thus, I began to give everything away. I actually remember, this is when he actually had said, nothing on earth matters, only feelings, money is meaningless, etc. I'll try and post the exact order of his words at the end of the video, one day. Him knowing that he was going to die isn't news to us diehard fans. The signs were there. Other random things he said towards the end, I drew inspiration from many things, not just rap, not even just music. I drew inspiration from paintings, sculptures. I honestly think that was one of the last things he said. When he had been giving me music advice, he also said, everyone starts doing art to express themselves. It's only when money is introduced that they make a choice. I agree and disagree. I certainly think that fresh-faced artists can be corrupted once their artistic product is making the money, and a little extra plastification will help make it more marketable. This is in part to personal failures. It's hard to resist greed when your first substantial time toe-to-toe with it is when you're an exploding fucking pop star. This is also from external factors. Managers, agents, promoters, industry pundits, fucking fan bases, and even established, already beyond corrupted artists. They all love to slither around greenhorn talent, slowly persuading and seducing them to the ways of the industry, the status quo. Chipping away at their unique persona, integrity, and artistic soul, one step at a time. However, I think in this day and age, I think it's important to remember that for every artist who started off in a genuine place, there's plenty who fucking didn't. Look no further than Cardi B or Blueface for easy examples of what I mean. They're easy because at least they profess their complete lack of artistic integrity, so cheers to them for that, I guess. But let's not forget that there's also plenty of other artists out there who haven't outed themselves, who never have had an artistic itch, and who only pursued an art form with material and social acquisition as they pursued this shit with material and social acquisition as the only goal. I'm not going to be pointing any more fingers, but I have my suspicions, and I'm sure you do. Finally, when he had been telling me about the importance of feelings, he also said this: I dressed every day depending on how I wanted to make people feel. Besides trying to put myself out there a hair more, the biggest difference I've made in my life is this. I've been wearing what I really feel like. I've taken his advice on feeling the most, making sure my writing comes from a place of feeling, making sure I take advantage of my feelings and never stifle them, making sure that I never put down a shirt or a jacket or a hat or a hairstyle just because the system's voice in my ear goes, oh, this doesn't really match the vibe of the place I'm going, or oh, these type of people are going to be there, don't dress like that, or oh, if you wear that, people might think that you're such and such. Fuck it. I hope everyone that sees me in public thinks I'm a tacky, filthy, criminally insane gaylord. Because if you can't handle the victimless energies I put off and the persona I wear, suck some smegma. The conversation lasted about an hour and 15 to an hour 30 minutes. A good chunk over the hour mark me and Anaswara were supposed to have, by her advertisement or whatever. I think the original rate was $120 per hour, but I think after witnessing everything that unfolded, she must have taken pity or empathy or just reveled in the awe-inspiring shit that just happened, because for my hour and a half she only charged me $90. That's what, $30 less? I mean, that's a fourth less. That's 25% off someone she doesn't even fucking know, I can't remember, but I think I gave her something like $110 or $100 instead. Later I felt bad about that. Sarah arrived much later to the Psychic Expo, and she had a session with Anaswara as well. And paying for that, I tipped her the last of my saved money, as it was much later in the day, and I came to appreciate how much she had done for me and how much she had to offer, especially in comparison with the rest of the psychics I try to see at the Expo. Not to make it a contest or anything, but some of them seemed to a little fraudulent. Maybe let's be generous and just say they were psychically exhausted. Okay. I have a tendency to doubt my own experience, mostly because my experience is so alien and outrageous when compared to the narratives the system tells us is acceptable to experience. My experience is so alien and outrageous when compared to the narratives the system tells us is acceptable experience and perspective. As I've come to realize that our world is teeming with a growing, squirming mass of toxic lies that blots out the sun and soaks into your fucking skin, I've come to realize that my doubts is not my own, and that I am experiencing things that are imperative in importance. I'm not crazy. I'm not lying to myself. I'm not lying for clout or any other gain. The afterlife is fucking real. We have souls. We have energies. Feelings, there are fucking energies out there that we can't even fully understand what it is. The metaphysical realm is unexplored. We don't understand it, okay? Feelings are incredibly important. These are lessons I should have already learned myself from my vast swatch of experiences here on Earth, but didn't learn until my experience talking to XXXTENTACION after his death through the services of a psychic medium. It's better that I learned this late rather than never, but now, more than ever, I need to begin to accept my own experience as valid. I can't always rely on X to tell me that my fucking experience is valid. That's kind of the point of everything he was trying to fucking say to me, is I need to bring spirituality with me as I try to influence leftism and wage the great war on Terra, planet Terra. In this video, if this video, in my experience, has stoked your curiosity with the paranormal, the metaphysical, the spiritual pursuit all humans are able to enjoy, please be warned. There's plenty of fraudulent mediums and fraudulent psychics out there. There's plenty of false paths laid out by corrupted, compromised individuals. There's plenty of risk involved for trauma when doing spiritual shit, as I will explore in later videos. Okay, I need to reiterate that shit. There is plenty of room for trauma when doing spiritual shit. Deadass. Fucking bad trauma. Bad. I'm not gonna... another video, but If you're curious, please be curious. Please, it's so important, but do your research. Okay, back to the script. As I will explore in later videos, blah, blah, blah. But until then, please do a shitload of your own research before you waste your money, frighten yourself back into complacent servitude, or traumatize yourself mentally or spiritually to the point of literal insanity. That being said, please explore your spiritual side, even just something harmless. These are something harmless, like intuition or recognizing synchronicity. You can't go fucking crazy trying to tap into your intuition. That is a nice, easy, like ABC 101 bullshit to do, okay? Tap into your intuition. There's a whole aspect of reality that we have yet to understand, and they damn well don't teach this shit in grade school. It's the new electricity. It's the new electricity. If you went back a little over 100 or 200 years ago, grabbed some random ass person, whether it be a servant or a lord or a soldier or a researcher, and tried to explain light bulbs, cars, computers, the internet, and phones to them, 99.99% of them would either belly laugh at you or curse you in terror and try to have you imprisoned and executed. Sounds ridiculous, right? I mean, electricity's fucking everywhere. We're not, it's not... It sounds so primitive, so ignorant that these people would behave that way, right? Well, spirituality is the new electricity. Do you want to be one of the billions of people who laughed, or do you want to discover, utilize, and explore the new paths carved out by the light bulb? Okay. Oh, God. Okay. I'd like to finish this video by wishing the very best to Stokely Goldborn, Anaswara Erica, Genesis Sanchez and her son Jahseh Onfroy, Craig Zen, Sarah Hyde, her spirit mom and close friend Wendy, Christy Brachowski, Geneva Ayala, and of fucking course, Jahseh Onfroy. Jahseh, thank you for everything you fucking said to me. I'm literally like at a loss for words. Like, the words that I put in this video don't do it justice. I'm just trying to like spread your message. Oh, bookmark. There's something I need to say that I forgot to write in the script. I just fucking remembered. Okay, here, wait, let me just finish reading the script. Whether or not you're a fan of X and have already been touched by his music or his words, I hope his words revealed in this video, his post-mortem words revealed in this video have helped you realize something within yourself, or other ways made a positive impact on your life. I'm wearing, I wrote this video to just be, like, recorded with a mic, so, I ended it like my normal shit. I'm wearing a floral Hawaiian shirt that, is Sarah's, and I really like it, and basketball shorts, and, blue slips, and, you probably can't see it, but I'm wearing, like, a soft pink velvet scrunchie. It is June 19th, 2019. I am walking over a bridge over a creek to the back of my apartment, townhouse shit. It is Wilmington, North Carolina. What time is it? It is 3:30 p.m. Wait, can you see my pink scrunchie? Okay, and this is the part where it would say goodbye, but really that's just the end of the script. Okay, so one other thing that he said to me was, so the thing, I really do think that, like, psychic medium work is like telephone. It's like, I don't think Anaswara was sitting there and was literally hearing his voice verbatim and just relaying exact words. It's like thoughts and feelings. It's these like abstract things that sometimes might be easy to put in words, sometimes they might not be easy to put into words. So there was a few things that he said that she told me that she put into her own words and would like acknowledge that it was her own words. So like when he was trying to tell me about like being myself and like giving me all this music advice and shit, like one thing that he said that whatever his original message was, she had to interpret it as this. So she was like, I'm a rock and roll girl. And basically what he's trying to say is don't be the 80s, be the 70s. Be raw. Don't be the 80s, be the 70s. be raw. She also, at some other point, described herself as a quote rock and roll girl because like she didn't even know he was a rapper the whole first half of the video, and then she was like, oh yeah, like she said something like along the lines of like, oh, I haven't heard of him, is he like from here, you know, Wilmington? Like just as like a further point, like, and God, it's like, yeah, she could have been lying, but it's like when you plug it in with all the other shit that's happening, it's like, do you really think she's lying? And it's like, even if without all the other shit plugged in, it's just like, I know she said it sincerely. I need to water this plant. Holy fuck, it's hot. What's up, Titans? I know she wasn't lying, but it's like, yeah, she sincerely meant what she said. She's like, I'm a rock and roll girl. I don't really listen to rap, especially like nowadays. Like, she basically was like, is this guy from Wilmington? Like, she thought this was some guy that I like literally knew. I mean, she didn't know X died. You know, even maybe in her day-to-day life, maybe she was scrolling around or heard it passing, but it's like something that would mean nothing to her. You know, it'd be like if you're not interested in politics and there's a fucking thing about some like unheard of senator that goes through your feed, it's like if someone references this event that this article was about, you might literally not even remember it, that you already saw it, because before it was just like a meaningless. Do you see what I'm trying to say? I don't know. She's a self-described rock and roll girl. I mean, she's my mom's age. Like, I mean, ish. It's hard to tell. I couldn't tell if she was like late 30s, like to mid 40s. I don't know. No, I really don't know. I'm really bad at telling ages, so I'm sorry, Miss Erica, if you see this. Like, I meant no offense, you know. And just thank you so much, Anaswara, for everything you did for me. Thank you, X, for everything you did to me. Like, thank you, Sarah, for like helping push the exact same messages he tried to push on me, you know. And you know, if you are like a fan of X, like, he's okay. He really is okay. You know, it's the rest of us here on Earth that we got to be worried about. It's your own life you got to be worried about. It's your loved ones. It's the state of this world that we got to start worrying about. And if you're not a fan of X and you just write off anything and everything that he has done and all the positive impact he has created, and not just little fucking charity events, like, as I'm sure y'all find out when I do more and more videos, you'll find I don't really like have a high respect for charity events. Maybe the intention, but they, as an impact, they don't do that much for the status quo. And to me, it's all about the status quo. It's about going to the root, not addressing symptoms. But, you know, to someone who isn't well versed into politics and shit like that, it's like, I understand that it's a very like sincere thing to like want to like do charity work or whatever. But it's like, even besides all that shit, it's like, if you're someone that hates X just because of the shit with his ex-girlfriend or because he attacked a gay guy, it's like, you need to like open up. Like, I know this is such a condescending sounding thing to say, and I know this is such a like cliche sounding thing to say, but it's like, you literally need to like open up your mind a little bit, because you're going to miss out a lot in life. You are going to miss out on a lot of people in life if there are certain things that are deal breakers, like instant, concrete, absolutely no exception deal breakers to you. If, for example, if you do nothing but hate anybody who has ever hit a woman, yes, there are a lot of shitty fucking people who have hit women, and I'm not gonna go into the whole spiel of like how we should empathize with everyone. Like, I get that there are some people who are just like, I think you should empathize with literally everyone, even shitty people, but I'm saying that even Jahseh is not a shitty person. He was not a shitty person. And, you are going to miss out on a lot if you do not, like, accept that some people just have done ugly things. If you write someone off just because they're a murderer, you are going to miss out on some shit. If you write someone off just because they've committed a crime or because they got, like some things are obvious, like most sensible people wouldn't write someone off because they committed a crime or got like an F in school or have done drugs. It's like, you know, most sensible people are like, no, that's like boomer shit. That's like stupid. but you're just as stupid as they are if you write someone else on like the next, you know, like there are some like difficult things, but it's just like I'm not even gonna go into in this video. I'm just saying like for your like your own sake, and I sincerely mean that. Like, I hope you open up to the idea that people make mistakes, and that people who come from backgrounds of like extreme trauma and shit are going to make mistakes that are a lot uglier than someone like me, who is a suburbanite, who it's like, yes, I've had like a hard life here and there with certain shit, but it's like largely no. Compared to X, no. I have not had a hard life. So it'd be very different if I tried to like cut up my girlfriend's vagina and I walked up to some random gay dude and attacked him for no reason. Like, obviously that'd be bullshit, and I would hope that like people would be disgusted with my actions, but it's just like you're not plugging in the context, and that's something that's important with empathy, is you have to put in context. Context is context is something that will take you from like a pretend woke person who's just like chiming all the like progressive like fun little like liberal shit to say. It will take you from that, and it will take you so much further. Context will take you the rest of the fucking way to levels you don't even imagine. Context will help you have empathy. You should just have empathy without context, but context will help. Like, is the training wheels for empathy. And this video is already way fucking longer than it needs to be, and I would be very surprised if I fucking don't even know. It's over. Bye.